Hey, 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 everybody. Hey, hey, hey. This is Dr. O, and it has been a long time since we have been in the flow. I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to come to you for a very, very, very special episode of In the Flow with Dr. O. Listen, I got a call a few days ago. It may have even been yesterday. No, it was a few days ago because I remember needing to check my calendar. I got a call with a request to speak to this phenomenal young lady who I've just had the pleasure of meeting just a few moments ago, saying, "Hey, I know this young lady. She has an amazing story. And I think your platform will be ideal to get her story out into the world." And at first I was like, look, I'm not feeling the best. I got a little tickle in my throat, got a little sickness going on or whatever, but tell me more. Tell me more. So when I heard about this young lady's journey, when I heard about her story, I knew that it was one that I had to hear and that I had to bring live for you today. So, hey, everybody, it's good to see your faces when you tune in. Drop a comment. Let me know you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from. And let's get ready to have a conversation. I do want to say that I am actually recording this live in my studio. So I'm still playing around with the audio on what that sounds like. There may be some feedback, but just rock with us, and just ride this wave, ride this flow. Um, a little bit about my guest today, and again, I did not go through a lot of conversation with her. She started telling me her story, and I'm like, let's just save that. Let's just save that for the live audience. So, what you hear is what I'm going to hear. I just ask for just love and good vibes and good wishes as this young lady shares her story, because I believe that she has something that will bless all of us as she talks about her journey. So, let me tell you what I do know. Today or this evening, I have the pleasure of interviewing a 21-year-old baddie. I don't know if I can say the word baddie. I don't know how she gonna feel about that. We didn't talk about that. But a 21-year-old baddie. Y'all, this young lady talked to me a little bit about cheering. She talked about some brand ambassador projects she's working on. And more specifically, she's talked to me about her journey through living with juvenile diabetes since the age of 4. And I'm going to tell you, I'm quite impressed with what I've heard so far. So, allow me to introduce my guest of the evening, Ms. Zyian Welcher. I'm going to add her in. Hey, girl.
Hello, everybody. Y'all
How
doing
you feeling, Zion?
blessed, honestly. Honestly. That's
Good.
all I can say, blessed.
You look good. You look good. Give me a second. I always have a little music playing in the background, but Erica Badu, she kind of rocking with my flow right now. So let me see if I could get Ziggy to act right. Ziggy, stop. Girl, Ziggy be having a mind of her own. She don't want to do what I ask her to do. But Zion, listen, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a guest on In the Flow with Dr. O. I don't take it lightly. I'm glad you're here. So let's just get started. First of all, tell my audience who you are. Like, just tell us, who are you? Who are you? Who is Zyian Welcher?
I am Zyian Donnie Welcher. I go by Zai. Everybody calls me Zai. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I'm 21 years old. I am a senior at the Jackson State University. I've been a cheerleader all of my life. I've been a type 1 diabetic since the age of 4. And yeah, well, I'm here today to talk and tell you guys about myself. Get to know me.
I'm excited.
More
I'm really
details.
excited. And did you say at the age of 4?
Yes, 4 years old. I literally just had turned 4 actually.
Wow. You know,
Yeah.
when I hear 4, I'm trying to think back in my mind. Listen, I am 44 right
Hmm.
now, and I'm trying to think about 4 years old. I don't really remember much about being 4, but To hear you say that at the age of 4, you was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes and you're 21 now. So I imagine that has been one heck of a journey, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. What is your first memory? What is your if you think back to when you were that young? I don't know if you can go all the way back to 4 years old, but what
And
is your first memory of the diagnosis? Talk to me about that. What did that feel like for you?
so I was at my grandparents' house, and I remember I just was very thirsty, and I had to keep peeing a lot. And eventually, my grandfather was like, "It's something going on." And on my mother's side of the family, type 1 diabetes actually does run in my family on my mother's side. So I just remember being at the hospital. I'm not really knowing what's going on. Honestly, I'm 4 years old. So I'm just thinking, I don't know. I don't really know what I was thinking, honestly. But my family, all my family was there. I got all the support and love immediately. But I say I was confused. That would be the word that I would use as being a 4 year old, getting diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. My family, I can say, is very resilient. So it never came off to me as like this was a very negative thing in my life or something that I would just finna have to suffer from. So I say the biggest memory for me, I say, was that I was very confused, was my first trip to the grocery store.
Okay.
After I left the hospital, it was me, my dad, my mom. We went to the grocery store, and when you first get um, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, it's certain things that you can't eat right off the bat. So I'm just, oh, I want this, I want that, and my parents were like, oh no, you can't get that, you can't get that, and I was confused, like, why I can't get it, things like. So I said that's the biggest thing for me as being a 4 year old, just the word confused.
Confused is a big word, and it's a word that I understand. And even me, I don't have diabetes. I've been considered pre-diabetic for a long time, but diabetes is something that runs rampant in my family. And I
Hmm.
know that one of the things that I always hear is the importance of controlling what you eat
Hmm.
and how you eat. So for you to have to do that at such a young age, I can imagine that being quite an experience. But at the same time, because you were so young, it may be something that you've grown accustomed to.
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me about your early elementary years and what that was like in school with all of your classmates and others that may not have eaten like you. Talk to me about that.
So like I told you, my mom, she worked in the school system. So the first elementary school that I was at, they didn't have like a nurse that was there every day. So my mom was there a lot. I kind of felt honestly embarrassed a little bit when I was around my peers because I would have to like take my shots and things like that when my mom used to have to come in the classroom. So I kind of felt embarrassed. As far as food and snacks, you know, I like to eat fruits. I like to eat vegetables. Probably God just put that on me because He knew I was gonna be a diabetic. I don't know, but I like to eat healthy. So the food to me was never really a problem. Like at first, I was a little confused about it, but it never really was a problem. I didn't too much like diet sodas. I don't like diet sodas to this day. I don't even drink sodas no more, but I don't like diet nothing. It don't taste right. um, but yeah, I just say embarrassed, kind of, being young, because I'm still just new to it. And then you got your friends looking at you funny and ask you like, "Oh, why you gotta do this? Why you gotta do that?" And being that young is kind of like, I don't know. I know why, but then again, I was just kind of embarrassed because I kind of wanted to go out and play with my friends, but I had to make sure I ate a snack before I go out and play with my friends, or my blood sugar was too high. I couldn't go out and play with them right then and there. So, little things like that. But I just say I had a really good support system, especially my mom. Like she never ever let me sit back and think anything negative within
Wonderful.
myself. She always put me in extracurricular activities. I've always over exceeded anything that I was in. I always tried to be the best at anything I was in. So yeah, I don't know. I just never took like my self esteem was never low. I said that.
I love that. When I hear you speak, it just the only thing that's coming up in mind is no limits. It
Yeah.
sounds like you've been one to not allow a diagnosis to limit you or to define who you are as a person. And I think that is highly commendable
Yes, ma'am.
because a lot of times, individuals receive certain diagnoses and it's like a a death sentence, or it's a life sentence in the sense of they feel like their life beyond that diagnosis has to be totally different. And in
Mhm.
many ways, it does have to be different,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that you have to cut out a lot of the things that bring you joy.
Right.
And so when you were talking about like going out and playing and all of that stuff, are there any sports or any type of activities that you have found to be your favorite? I think I may have heard that you was into cheer, but I don't know if I heard that right. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, ma'am. So I first started when I was growing up. I was a soccer player. I love soccer to this day. When I played soccer, I played basketball a little bit. I tried track. I don't like track. But in middle school, cheerleading, that is my first love. That's something that came natural to me. When it came with diabetes, diabetes supposed to everybody supposed to exercise. Diabetes, it helps regulate your blood sugars when you exercise, things like that. So it was my go-to, my number one thing, my first love, and I was very good at it. So cheerleading, that was me.
Awesome. So do you still cheer now?
I'm working back getting into co-ed cheerleading, the stunting part of it, but no, I'm not on nobody's team currently.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And so you're a college student, right? What college do you
Yeah.
attend?
The Jackson State University.
The Jackson
Jackson
State
State University. Yes,
University.
ma'am.
Every time I have heard Jackson State mentioned, I have heard the Jackson
Yes,
State
ma'am.
University.
The I love.
D I love. Let me just pause right there. Y'all, I have a 21-year-old baddie, powerhouse of a wellness advocate, someone who's talking today about diabetes and what life has been like living with diabetes. And Zyian, I'm honored that you want to use your story to inspire others, because I know that juvenile diabetes is not something that we hear a lot about. And I've been out here in these wellness streets for a long time. And honestly, this is the first time someone has reached out to me to bring juvenile diabetes to my platform. And, I'm thinking, but you're not the only young person that I know that has diabetes as a child. I know I have a first cousin who was diagnosed with diabetes at a young age. I have a nephew who has diabetes. And so it is a thing, but it's not a thing that we talk about very often. And we have a user, one of my dear friends, Trelyn, is saying, what a blessing to have you on and to talk about this and bring awareness to this. And I agree totally. So you spoke a little bit earlier about your mom and how much support she offered, and the fact that she showed up at the school and was able to do things with you. Would you consider your mom as your biggest supporter? And if so, what would you say to other young people who are looking for support, or other parents of young people who may be diagnosed with diabetes at a young age, on what that support needs to look like? Talk to me about that a little bit.
I would definitely say my mother was my number one and still is my number one supporter when it comes to my diabetes. As far as to other parents and to give them advice, I would just say empathy would be a good thing, just to get the understanding of, because yes, diabetes, you have to take your shots, things like that, but I feel like a lot of mental comes with it as well, because of the it's not, well, I don't want to say it's embarrassing, but you can feel embarrassed, you know what I'm saying, or feel like, oh, I don't want to get my shot right now, or when you wearing your Dexcom or your sites and things like that, like some things you can't hide from being a diabetic, and some people do ask you certain questions just off that, like, oh, what is that, and everybody may not be as comfortable as answering those questions, or just comfortable being a diabetic off that, because some people do get I know some people that got diagnosed when they was in their teenage years, and they just went ghost completely because they just felt like, I can't wear this dress because I gotta wear my pump or things like that. Just feeling embarrassed. I would just say, as a parent, just to get that understanding of how they actually feel, so you can work better to support them in that certain type of way. Because it's not just, oh, making sure, because you can just be an authoritative parent and just think like, oh, make sure you eat this, make sure you eat that, but if you don't really have that understanding of the fact that my daughter is an actual diabetic and she deals with more than just having to take a shot in front of her peers. Just get to understanding how she actually feels. You know,
I
that,
love
that's
that.
my mom.
I know. I wanted to put that up there so you can see
That's
somebody
my mom.
shouting your mom, like they're giving your mom a shout out.
Yeah.
Listen, your daughter is singing your praises, and we want to make sure that you know that we appreciate the support that you've provided on behalf of our mothers. So we may be reaching out to you for a part two to this episode just to get, a parent's perspective of
Mm-hmm.
raising a child with juvenile diabetes. And I'm sure there's some people who can learn from you. And I just want to applaud you, Ms. Hardiman, what your daughter has shared with me so far. Just that's you had a no limit attitude in allowing her to still participate in whatever she felt like she needed to participate in. And we got somebody saying that she's already provided support for Marshall. Marshall is the nephew that I was mentioning earlier, had diabetes. I didn't want to put a name out there, but now Deidre is on mentioning that name. So look, your story and your journey is already touching lives. And I don't know if you know that already, but like I said, I appreciate you giving voice to your experience because it's so much that we can learn from this. So let me ask you this. How do you measure your accomplishments and your success? What talk to me about? Okay, I asked you about childhood, and now I know you're in college, but I want to talk about the gap between leaving high school and going to college. What did you want for yourself? What did you vision for yourself? And how did your diagnosis of diabetes impact those decisions, if at all? Talk to me about that, your decision to move from high school to college and what those thoughts were like, and how diabetes played any kind of significance in that journey.
Um, just to, I guess, to further just having no limits for myself. I knew I always got the talk of when you go off to school, you will find yourself and you will learn things about yourself. So going off, leaving home and going 8 hours away, having nobody but my cheermates that I was just meeting. I just always wanted to be unapologetically me. That's me. Everybody knows that about me. I'm very blunt. I'm very honest. I'm very straightforward. So just honestly, just being and just having that no limit against myself, and especially with the fact that I had signed to a D1 cheerleading team, just to just be an advocate for anybody with chronic illness, just to show them that you can do this, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, it's not no limits just because you're a type 1 diabetic or whatever chronic illness that you have. And just to be blessed in whatever blessings God has for me.
Girl, you are a powerhouse. Like I wish I had like a camera, a zoom in lens so I could show how the hair on my arms is rising. Just to hear you talk about being unapologetically who you are, that speaks volumes in and of itself, because there are so many people, I believe, who are chasing someone else's dream.
Mm-hmm.
They're living a life of striving to be what society deems them to be. But when
Yep.
I can meet somebody who can stand on just being unapologetically themselves, I think that's what the world needs more of.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I applaud you. Don't ever lose sight of that.
Yes,
Don't
ma'am.
ever lose sight of that. When we were talking earlier, I told you this is what this show is about, just being in the flow unapologetically. I live an unapologetic life, and I've been living this way for a long time, but it's the most liberating feeling that I believe that I can have, because I can't be anybody else but me. So why not be me unapologetically, right? So let me ask you this question. I brought you forward going to college, but I want to go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back to yourself at 4 years old when you were first diagnosed with diabetes, is there something that you would say, or if there was a newly diagnosed 4 year old person that you can inspire in some type of way to embrace this journey fully and completely, unapologetically, if you will, what would that advice be?
My slogan, diabetes is something that you have, is not who you are. that there's no limits, and you just have to go about certain precautions moving forward in life. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to it. Just live a healthy
Wow.
lifestyle. Everybody should live a healthy lifestyle, regardless if you're a type 1 diabetic or not.
I love that. I've heard a similar slogan in association with many other things, HIV, mental health disorders, anxiety and depression, and
Mhm.
that sort of thing. So I love that. Any type of diagnosis,
Mhm.
it's just that. It's a diagnosis. It's
Right.
information. It's like data or data, if you will, that's inputted that
Mhm.
tells us how we need to model our life
Right.
to live so that we can live our healthiest or live our best lives.
Mhm.
It is not an end all be all. It is
Mhm.
just knowledge that we need to use to conduct ourselves in a different way. So I really appreciate you saying, diabetes it's what you have. It's not who you are. Say that slogan again. I want to make sure I don't say it wrong. You say it.
Diabetes is what I have. It's not who I am.
Diabetes is what I have. It is not who I am. Let me see if I can type that up here while I'm talking, and let me get my let me see what I can do, because I think the world needs to know that diabetes is what I have. It is not who I am. Is that how you said it?
Yes, ma'am.
Who I am. That is right, because you're so much more. You're so much else. You're so much besides diabetes. That is so amazing. And to be 21 and to have such a stance in who you are, such a handle on life, such a handle on what you want to give out to the world. It is so much more. Somebody just dropped a comment. So much more. And then I have another comment as it relates to autism. Autism is what Marshall has. It is not who he is. And I believe that if everybody that's watching this now while it's fresh in the flow, I have a friend. I won't call her out, but she's listening and she's tuned in. She always talks about capturing capturing things while it's flowing fresh. So
Mhm.
for those of you who are catching this fresh anointing that's coming forth from Zyian, listen, do not miss that she said that diabetes is what she has. It is not who she is. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Um, Let me ask you this. What is one of the hardest things that you feel like people tend to not understand about you? Or what is something that you feel like people don't understand that you want them to understand? Maybe you can go further into this slogan, or it could be something completely different. But what is it something that you think people need to understand about your life with diabetes?
I'll say my biggest thing that be bothering me or get on my nerves, is like the whole sugar thing. When it comes to being a diabetic, like, you are. Nobody is supposed to be eating sugar. You know what I'm saying? Sugar does the same thing in my body that it does in your body. It breaks down the same. It goes in your blood the same. The only thing difference is that I just have to give myself insulin. So that does bother me with people, because I'll be, for instance, just in the past experience, I'll be drinking a Sprite or something,
Okay.
and I'm drinking a Sprite because my blood sugar is low. But somebody saying something to me like, "Oh, why are you drinking a Sprite? Don't you have diabetes?" Like, for one, it's not your business. But for two,
Go back
for
to number
two,
one. Say that again.
for two, yo, you're not supposed to be drinking a Sprite either. Like, if we just talking about the health benefits of it, nobody's supposed to be drinking a Sprite. Nobody's supposed to be drinking sweet tea. Thanksgiving coming up, nobody's supposed to be eating red velvet cake. Like, it's just the whole stereotype of diabetics is supposed to, I guess, be eating lettuce every day. Things like that. Like, no, that's not the lifestyle that we have to live.
This is so powerful. This is so powerful. I really appreciate hearing that. I'm working on a series around stigma,
Mhm.
and it's something that is near and dear to my heart. How we as a people tend to judge or stigmatize things that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so hearing you say that, I'm guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty of watching somebody else's diet. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, diabetes runs in my family, and I know without a doubt that I am not the healthiest and that there's so much more that I need to do to take care of myself better. But I would probably be more apt to say to somebody like you, who I knew had an official diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, you don't need to be doing that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I
Exactly.
really appreciate that. You have some comments, and I really want to highlight this. I have a user that says multiple sclerosis is what I had. It is not who I am.
Period.
So powerful. So powerful. We got a very powerful. And guess
Thank
what?
you.
Someone is saying this is a blessing. The timing is perfect. As I was recently diagnosed with type 2
Uh,
diabetes, this young lady has inspired me, and I am 2 times her age.
thank
Wow. That gives me chills. That gives me chills. Just to
thank
know
you.
that, sometimes we don't know. Oh, I got chills. Y'all probably can see them. Well, let me not. I didn't put lotion on. Let me not face be all greased down and oily, but y'all know I don't care. What you see is what you get. Trillian also says she can't stand shade tree doctors. Everybody think they know what's best for everybody.
Right.
That is so true. That is so true. But as you live with the information that your doctors have shared, and as you walk and travel your own journey, then you learn what you need,
Mm-hmm.
you learn what's best for you, and then you govern yourself according to that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So listen, I want to say again, number one, thank you for coming on, sharing your story. This is not the end yet. I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you. I mean, I'm so inspired. There's so much that I want to know. We've talked a lot about diabetes. So now I'm just going to take that off the table. I'm going to take that off the table
Yes,
because
ma'am.
it's not who you are. We spent about 27 minutes talking about diabetes. So aside from diabetes, just tell me who you are as a person. What's your let's say 3 years from now, what do you want your life to look like? And we can, and that can relate to diabetes as well. How do you want to utilize what you have to make a difference in the world? And do you have any goals for yourself for the next 3 years in doing so? Let us know what your thoughts are, what you're headed towards. And I got somebody that say, yep, I want to know too. See, look, y'all, I don't be preparing these questions in advance, but I know how to pull some information out. So talk to me about what you see for yourself in the next 3 years.
Okay, so my goals for the next 3 years, I definitely want to go to grad school. I'm a psychology major with a minor in criminology, and I want to become a forensic psychologist. That's definitely my career path that I want to become. So
Awesome.
I want to go to grad school, start my PhD program. I definitely see myself, you know, hopefully I branch off with this whole my brand, my name, everything being the diabetic advocate, and as well going it back into chilling with co-ed. So hopefully my platform will grow, and honestly just getting right with God. Being right with God, just being the best person that I can be. That's all that I'm just striving to be, making my family proud, um, providing for my brother and my little cousins because they look up to me, you know, and being in good health, of course. So, yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. I think some of those things you can go ahead and check off. Like don't put them on your bucket list. The making your family proud, check. Being an inspiration, check. Using your platform to inspire others, check.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're an amazing young lady. I think what you're doing is great. I talk a lot about overall wellness. Um, got some things in the works with Release Wellness, Release Enterprises, which is a wellness brand, a wellness umbrella. Look, don't you need to save my number because I'm going to be reaching out to you. I
Yes, ma'am.
feel like what you have to say is amazing. Is absolutely amazing. I just created a character, Fabian the affirmation parrot. His whole goal is to remind people that they're fabulous just the way they are already. To embrace your colors, embrace your fabulousness. And when I talk about embracing your colors, I'm talking about all of those things that kind of tell a portion of who you are,
Mhm.
but it doesn't paint your complete canvas, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to be looking out for you to see if you can help me promote that brand. We might could do some partnership things. I don't know, but I'm just saying you are incredible. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna listen. If you're out in the audience and you have any questions for Zyian, drop them in the comments. We're gonna take about another 2 to 3 minutes for comments. Zyian, is there anything that you want to share with the world that I have not asked you? This is your time. This is your time. What do you want the world to know?
Um, I'm got nothing to say to the world right now, but I do want to thank you for just even giving me this platform and opportunity to share my
Awesome.
story. This is the first step as far as my name and my brand. It's like instead of being like behind somebody else, things like that, to actually step out. And this is a prayer answer from God. So I just thank you for just giving me the platform and to be here. You know, I really do appreciate it. I
Awesome, y'all. Oh, that gives me warm and fuzzy feels. You are so very welcome. I mean, to know that I can just be myself, authentic in the flow, and to give voice to someone else's story. That's my dream. That's how I want to live the rest of my days. That is what I want to do. There was a question asking where we can follow you, but they found the answer. You
Mhm.
can follow this beautiful young lady on Instagram and YouTube. Start following now because she's about to go bigger. I'm not going to say big because what you're doing right now is huge. It is incredible. I appreciate you taking the time to come and share your story. I'm honored that I was the chosen vessel
Yes,
to
ma'am.
to bring your story forth. This won't be the last time. I promise it won't be the last time. You have someone that has already followed you. So
Thank
again, Zyian, I thank you. Thank you for coming down to my place.
you. Yes, ma'am.
Blessing me with your presence. And again, I could not, y'all listen, when I got the call, a 21-year-old want to talk about diabetes and overall wellness? Yes. Let me go get me some tea and nurse this throat, and I'm in there. So for those of you that have tuned in, thank you for tuning in to In the Flow with Dr. O. I love y'all like I love bacon. And I love bacon. All right, y'all. We out. Zyian, thank you. It's been a
Bye.
pleasure. Y'all take care. Drop some comments and share this stream with someone who could benefit from the information. Love and light, y'all. Until next time, Dr. O. Love and light. Bye.